Welcome to Living Your Soul's Journey with Dr. Vikke. I am so grateful to be here with you tonight. We discuss issues to help you walk your soul's pilgrimage in your own authentic way. Sharing the path with your angels and spiritual guides gives you the comfort and security of always knowing you are not alone. You are invited to visit my website at livingyoursoulsjourney.com and fill out the Freedom to Be Me journal, a place of self-discovery. The show airs every Sunday night on BBS Radio at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. Call in or just listen during our inspirational discussions from guests around the world. And from Dr. Vikke, a counselor of law and spirituality. And now, Living Your Soul's Journey. Welcome this beautiful Sunday to Living Your Soul's Journey with Dr. Vikke. As I travel my personal journey, which has been pretty long, I'm almost getting ready for a birthday coming up, I am always seeking people who are walking their unique path and their willingness to speak out and to share their gifts with the world. So recently I spoke with a young lady who I have down as 19, but I just found out she just turned 20, and she is so resonating with her own soul's journey. Courtney began seeking her own truth early in life. As she began her pilgrimage, she began channeling, receiving information, wisdom for her own evolution and understanding. But very shortly after that, Courtney was guided to open her heart and wisdom with as many people as she could. And not only is Courtney beautiful, but I've seen her picture and she's quite gorgeous as well. Her book, Teachings from God by Courtney Amundson, is our topic of conversation this evening. So welcome to the show, Courtney.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here and to talk with you, and I'm sure it's going to be a lovely conversation.
Well, it is. Sometimes we have folks calling in, Courtney, and sometimes they just like to listen. So what I really was impressed with you as a lawyer myself that had worked with children for over 12 years, and you're not a child anymore, but I was so impressed with the fact that you didn't spend your teenage years getting into trouble and just called nothing, not that that's not a soul's journey for others. That could be their perfect soul's journey. But for you, you followed your journey by having come into this ability, and that's what I want you to share with us, this ability that you found out that you had early on, and you listened, and I'm impressed with that.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about how all that just started for you.
Yeah, well, I have grown up in a really amazing family that's really helped me to come into my own and follow my passions and my bliss, and I've always been a seeker. I really have, and I'm thankful and blessed to have been given the resources to really dive into that. And when I had questions, deeper questions about my life and what my purpose is, I was always getting nurtured in that way and given resources and put in environments where I could really dive into that. And so Qigong has been a huge thing for me. I started learning Qigong when I was 9 years old, and I met this Qigong master here in Minnesota that really just deepened my spiritual understanding. And I learned that everyone is born a healer and everyone is born with a purpose. And it's really up to you to grab that and to put your energy in yourself. And so I have always kind of had that in the back of my mind, even as I've, gone through school and gotten mixed up and, seen how it's really easy to just kind of go down the same path as everyone else. And so I really found out how to be myself through all of that. And I transitioned to online school, and that gave me a lot of extra time to focus on my music and my healing and my spiritual life and yoga and all of that good stuff that I was into. And so I think all of those questions that I was asking, for so long really primed this communication that began when I was 16 years old. And that was 4 years ago. Yesterday, actually. It was March 12th, 2012, when this started for me. And how it started is I was meditating, and I meditated very often, but on this particular day, I remember feeling different. I felt that, I'm not sure what I felt was different exactly, but there was part of me that had surrendered, and there's part of me that was ready to dive deeper and know more about myself. And it wasn't as much about reaching to God or reaching to the universe. It was more like a companionship that started a kind of a two-way communication. And that's what I found is what is most amazing about being human. And so I was meditating, and I felt this golden angelic presence come over me. And this happened within the first, I would say, 30 seconds of when I sat down. And I was sitting on the couch, and I felt this golden funnel of light come through the top of my head. And when this came through, it was so magical and just transcendent. I felt that I had become weightless. I felt that an unconditional love had come into my body, and I was just probably sitting there smiling like an idiot because it was so amazing. And I kept just feeling, I felt like I had maxed out my human body almost. It was like this light I could feel and hear and sense, and it was just, resonating out. And so I was kind of in my mind's eye, I was watching this light move throughout my body, and it moved into my fingertips. And when it hit my fingertips, this light started to shoot out my fingertips, and I could feel that very strongly. And so I knew, just intuitively, I knew that something was happening, and I was recalling in my mind the story of Esther Hicks when she started to communicate with this presence that she called Abraham. Source energy, another funnel of source energy. And so that was really amazing me, and I thought, okay, this is happening. this is happening. And so I went to the computer, and I opened up a blank Word document, and I surrendered. I let go, and I said, the highest of light, move through me. I will step aside and tell me whatever I need to know. Show me whatever I need to see. And I let it. And I closed my eyes, and this energy that was moving throughout my fingertips strengthened, and it started to push down the keys. And I could feel how it was releasing throughout my entire body as I was doing this. And so I thought, okay, this is right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I just sat there, and I was patient, and I was just blissed out in this experience, and the words just started to flow. And so I sat there for probably a couple of hours, and just listening and feeling. And when I opened my eyes, when I felt it was done, there was a few paragraphs there, and I read them, and it was this just magical, these amazing energy beings that were talking to me, and they were saying, we love you so much. We are, we're part of unconditional love. We are source energy, and we're here to help you to basically help others to heal, and we're going to teach you. And so this is when I started to devote really all of my attention and energy on this because I knew it was my sole purpose. Mm-hmm. And it was a just amazing journey personally for me too. I mean, what you see in the book is so many universal teachings, but it's also very personal for me. And what came through in those early days was me having a personal conversation with my divine and learning that I'm never alone, and learning that there's never a wrong path, that you're always on the right path. And so it was me stepping into my highest perspective, if you will, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course it does. Yes.
And so that's what I'm really hoping that my book, Teachings from God, will help others to find in themselves, is that you are the one guiding yourself, and you can train yourself to see from that higher perspective and then guide yourself. And that is so freeing and so empowering, because then you're not kind of seeing yourself separate from God or source energy or the universe. You're seeing yourself as a co-creative part to that, and you have a part in that. So that's what this is about, and that's what I have to share about that.
Well, good. Well, there are two things that you said that I want to address and talk to you about. One is Qigong, because a lot of folks are not familiar with that. So just briefly tell us what that is, so that we won't leave people with not knowing what that philosophy is.
Right. Well, basically, if you break it down into the word, Qi means energy and Gong means work. So Qigong means energy work. Mm-hmm. And there's thousands of types of Qigong. But the type that I learned, it's called Spring Forest Qigong, and it's based here in Minnesota. And founded by this amazing guy, Master Chu Nilin, and he is just amazing, an amazing person, always happy, always humble, and what was so validating for me about the experience was seeing someone that was really helping you to come into your full power without ever taking too much credit, on their own personal behalf, showing you that you are your own healer, you are your own best teacher. And so Qigong for me was learning about how to really strengthen my own energy, how to move my own energy, how to remove energy blockages from my body so that I could be healthy and whole, and that works on all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And your body's health and wellness is so important. This is our vehicle, this is what we have to protect.
It's very true.
So for me, Qigong was is an amazing part of my life. And everyone has their own, thing. But for me, this is what resonates with me.
As long as it resonates and it works and it's of love, there's a couple of things you had said there that I want to bring that to everyone's attention, that when you're working with the highest level of light, you will always know, because it's always of love. It isn't about anything but love and guidance and helping to get better. It's never anything else but that. And I always help people understand that. Now, there's something that you said, Courtney, because I've based my whole life on this, and I will tell you, I'm just many, many months and many, many moons older than you in this incarnation. And I spent, and you're very blessed at age 20 to have learned this, because there are many people walking on this planet, Courtney, that I'm very sure you're aware of, that feel very alone. Yes. And you have made a very, very wise statement that you're never alone. And I don't know if you ever went to my website, but that's what I talk about is I'm never alone anymore. I used to feel alone. It took me a lot longer than you to learn this. But when you have your team of angels, your team, your guidance team, however you want to call it, God, Spirit, however, you can't be alone. I mean, you can be in the middle of nowhere or you can be in the midst of people. And yet you have your own team. So I just really want to commend you on that because you're never alone. You said some very wise comments, but that is the most profound because none of us are ever alone, but we don't realize it. And what a beautiful gift that you have to bring to people, though, to share that. Now, I've got to ask you, Courtney, do you tend to talk to young people your age, or do you to resonate more with the older folks? How does that all work for you in just in the few years that you've been out there with teachings from God? How do you kind of work with that?
Right. Well, for me, it was just about being authentic to myself throughout all of this, and what that really meant for me. A lot of my journey has been about, if friendships aren't resonating with me because I can't be myself, then I need to let that go. And what that meant for me was, a lot of my friends were, a lot older than me, and that's been amazing in many ways because I've become very comfortable with that, and I've matured a lot, and I've been able to learn how to see myself in new ways. But also a big part of what my work is and what my, my goal is to make it as universal as possible and to be able to reach all ages, because my big passion right now is, I see younger people, and what I'm thinking of right now, I'm thinking of some of my younger cousins who I see are, struggling in school and struggling just coming into themselves and knowing, who they are and what's the purpose. And it's so confusing, and it's so, just you feel jumbled up a lot of that time, and you feel like you need something to ground you down and give you some perspective and some answers, because so many people are seeking these kind of answers and they just don't know how to funnel it. And so I want to be a guide for those people, and, just sometimes a tiny bit of word, a few words can be really earth-shaking for some of those kids. You can really see them light up right away when you just say something very small. Something small to me might be very big for them. A bit of advice, or, saying, what, one grade doesn't make that big of a difference. What you're doing here is what really means a lot, and you're doing enough, and look at how far you've come, and, there's nothing to fear. And so that's a big passion for me. But, I see wisdom in all ages, and I see potential in all ages. And, it's just, we're so divided in so many ways as a society. I see, people saying to me, like, how can you be, publishing a book at your age, and you haven't even been to college, and where's that coming from? And then I see other people my age that are looking at, their grandparents and their parents and kind of discrediting them and not being respectful, or not seeing the wisdom and the courage and the strength and all of that within them. So I've tried to kind of, on a personal level for me, I've tried to see value in all of those relationships and kind of grow that way, where I can make this work, really applicable for all ages. But for me, also just speaking on what you said before about feeling alone, I've felt alone, and it's sort of an affirmation for me too, to see, every step of this way, I'm being guided to really put these words into practice for me to, and to trust deeper. But that's what being human is. It's being able to trust and learning to trust deeper every step of the way. Because we are not alone, but it feels that way.
Well, I have to share that because, I have a daughter that's a bit younger than you, and she's in an online school, and sometimes she can, there are many millions, as I understand it, Courtney, young people that are not in brick and mortar schools anymore. They're online. Right. So I find it, let's discuss that for a moment, because I get a lot of calls on people that are saying, well, is it really sociable to put your child in a private online school when, where do they get their socialization? How did that work for you in that feeling not alone?
Right. Well, for me, I was very good at motivating myself, and I knew that was a good solution for me, because I felt alone even when I was surrounded by people. I felt more connected to myself when I was at home, because a lot of my stress went away. Just, not having to walk through the hallways and to feel everyone's energy and to be worried about all the pressures that were being put on me at school. And that wasn't just from peers. It was mostly actually from teachers and from just the stress of the schoolwork and how intense that was. And it really does put you in the box. And if you are someone that, I don't want to say rebels against the system, but for me, I always felt that what was most important is that I stay true to myself, and that I don't, I want to get the most out of learning. I want to get the most out of the experience, and I like to just dive into things. And, when I talked to your daughter on the phone, I recognized a lot of similarities in how she learns and how she absorbs and what fuels her. And it just, that really, sparked a lot of memories for me, and seeing that, you do come alive when you're in your element, and when you're put in the right environment where you really strive, then learning is fun, and you work harder and you want to learn, and it changes the whole deal. It really does. Yeah. So,
well, I understand. I totally understand. I'm going to just share something with you that, because, I'm intuitive, and I sense things with people that are on my show, and of course outside of the show too. But you would be really, really wise to contact BBS and talk to them about your own radio show, because you would resonate with, you have so much to share with young people. And I just want to throw that out to you, because it gives you a bigger audience. And
I'm laughing because you're the third person who has suggested that to me this week. Yeah. So obviously, obviously Spirit wants me to do that. And I keep telling people, I'm not ready yet, but everybody keeps coming to me. So.
Well, but what makes you ready really is, I'll tell you, it's very simple. You have to just do it. You have to share being authentic. You've already said everything. You're authentic. You're not alone. You have this team of angels with you always that can guide you, direct you, put you into the right realm. But, I even talked to my daughter about doing this. She said the same thing, I'm not ready. But y'all have so much wisdom to share with people. You wouldn't do necessarily the show the same way I'm doing it, but you would, you would want to resonate with young people necessarily that call in. It's almost like, it's like having a call-in show. Now, a lot of places have psychic hotlines. You don't want to get into that kind of thing, because then you're, oh my gosh, telling people what to think and how to feel and where to go and all that is, karmically disastrous. That's my viewpoint. That's viewpoint. But, I'll be glad to talk to you after the show about it. You talk to Doug, the producer that's actually producing the show as we speak, because you have a beautiful voice and you have much wisdom and you have a book to teach from. You see, you have a book to teach from, teachings from God. You can take, a chapter a week and talk about that and have callers to call in. And if no one calls, it doesn't matter. Someone's listening. And I will tell you, Courtney, in my radio show, and I've been doing this for years now, and I got out of it for a while, okay, because of personal issues. And I allowed myself to have those personal issues, by the way. But do you know that when I do my show every week, do you know that I don't care if one person is listening or a million? If I touch one person, then I've done my job. Okay, just one person. And so, I just need to share that with you because I know that when you spoke with my daughter, she said, "Well, I don't want to talk to Courtney. I have nothing to say." And then she talked to you, and she said, "Oh, I guess I really did have something to say to Courtney." So you see how you touched her? You see? Touched her.
And that really, those kind of connections really make me, feel like my work is beyond just a book. And I can see how that is unfolding because, and this goes for everyone that's listening too, there comes a time where you realize, you have a mission, and some people may not realize it, but everyone does have their own personal soul purpose, and you set yourself up in that position to grow on a soul level and to do your best and be your best, and a lot of times, that's meaning service for the world, service for yourself and the world. And every time I move one step closer towards that and into that, moving into it, that's a better way of saying it, because there really is no end destination, really. But as I continue to follow the signposts along the way, I find people that I resonate with and that resonate with me and see me on the same level as I see myself. And that's what's validating for me, that, I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing. And I've had plenty of people tell me, you should be going to college. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And how are you going to make a living? How are you going to make money? And wow. I've had a lot of, and this was not coming from my parents, thank goodness, but it does affect me nonetheless, because these are voices that are being, hammered into your brain for, when you're very, very young. If it's not happening at home, it's happening at school, it's happening from your friends, and it's very hard not to listen to that. And so as we grow older, those voices kind of become concrete within us if we don't catch them, if we don't see that doesn't feel good, and maybe we don't want to accept that as our truth. And
your feelings say it all right there.
Exactly. Yeah. The way you feel is your guidance system. A lot of people say to me, well, I don't know what my soul purpose is. I don't know how to follow my intuition like you do. And what I keep saying is there's nothing special about, my intuition versus your intuition. It's the same thing. What's different is that I learn how to tune into my, into my emotions more. I listen to my body. I listen to the inner dialogue, and I just become more tuned in, through mindfulness. And when I feel my reaction towards my own thoughts, or maybe something someone else said to me, that's a signpost, that's guidance, that's feedback. And when you listen to that, you're constantly getting feedback. You really are. So it's really your choice whether to tune in or not. But we all have intuition. We all have the ability to, follow our own soul purpose. But get curious. I think that's the biggest thing I could say to people who might feel like they're a little bit lost. Just start getting curious, what is out there. Try things out. See how it feels. But a lot of times, if we go back to, memories of ourselves when we were younger, when we had a very easy time dreaming about, what we're going to be when we grow up, where your passion is then, where your fuel is then, is often where your soul purpose is.
That's
oftentimes.
True. Let's take this caller, Courtney. We have a caller. Sandy, are you there?
I just want to make a statement, and then I'm going to go back to listening before I start coughing again. I'm getting rid of a sickness right now. But anyway, I wanted to tell this lovely young lady how proud of her I am for following what she knows is right for her life and not letting people who shouldn't be trying to influence her in what direction to go in, what direction to take. She's following what the divine would have her do, and that is something very rare at your age. And I'm just gonna hang up now and listen to you, sweet lady, because I don't want to start coughing on here. But you take care. I'm gonna just go listen some more. Okay, baby. Bye bye.
Well, thank you, Sandy, for saying that, because honestly, I mean, people listening, you might think that I have a really easy time just speaking my truth all of the time, and I can understand why you would think that because the way I'm talking right now, but I have to say, though, it does, you get thrown a lot of bricks in your path and along the way, and the more that you gain courage and the more that you gain your authentic voice, the more that you are going to be challenged to stick to your guns on that. And so, it's kind of a journey of constantly, tuning in with yourself, tuning in all of the time. And there are times where I feel like, it's very, very hard to stay true to myself. And so basically what I want to say is people encouraging me is very helpful. So thank you.
Well, that is so true. And I want to share some other life stories with you too, Courtney. And it's when I was your age, I dropped out of college and I went on the road singing. And I traveled and I did pageants and I did what I wanted to do. Because I was taught from my parents that college is always there, but life experiences aren't. Mm-hmm. So I want to share with you that I didn't even graduate from college, and I did go to college, but I did not graduate from college until I was in my early 30s. And I did not even go to law school till then. Shortly after that, I went to law school. And so college is always there, but you are an entrepreneur. You are someone who has, you're very much like my daughter in that she worries about her future because she doesn't want to go to college. And I will share the same thing with you that I share with her and anyone else that has that issue. Going to college these days does not necessarily, provide a job for you.
Right, yeah.
Even lawyers are not employed right now. I mean, so what you're doing, Courtney, by staying true to yourself, you are learning a skill. And you'll find through your journey, you're young, you're still young, you will find through your journey, you're a healer. You may have your own center. You may have, there are so many opportunities for you. If I were doing a session with you right now, I already see things, that God has shared with me. So, when those circumstances are thrown to you, to share with you this, my daughter, all of her friends, of course she's online school, all of her friends go to public school or private, and they're all talking about their college that they're going to. She doesn't get bothered by it. She stands true to it, and she says, I don't know how I'm going to make a living, and I go into all, you can imagine me as a mom, Courtney. I go into this whole reel about just be authentic, just be true to yourself. You will find that gift, You will find a way. And I'll be straight with you. I mean, I don't care if someone like yourself, Courtney, was a card reader or a healer that, like a Shigan master, there are so many ways that you can help people, and you never have to enter a classroom to do that, other than the classrooms of life and as well, certain, spiritual. I mean, I have a PhD in spirituality. I went to class for that, but it's not like I didn't go to the University of, state to get that. So,
right.
So I feel like that let me ask you, what do you do just on a day-to-day basis? When you wake up in the morning, what do you do that makes your personal spiritual path unique for you? I mean, I know we brush our teeth and all that, but I mean, what makes it for you?
That's a good question. Well, I think what I've kind of learned to do is to just really be in the moment. And I don't try to strive for routines anymore, because anytime I try to do that, it's broken down. I can't do it. And I try and I beat myself up for it. I don't anymore, but I used to. Because of a lot of kind of just being in a routine in school and having to do things and guidelines and now I found that I can just be in the moment, and whatever I feel is best for me at that moment, for my mind, my body, my spirit, that's what I do. This morning I woke up and I felt kind of tired, so I laid in bed for longer, and then I woke up and I went downstairs and I watercolored for about an hour. And that was like perfect for me. And then I made breakfast and I went on a long bike ride with my dad this afternoon, and that was perfect. And it's just, it's about just being in the present moment, feeling what you feel needs attention at that moment. Sometimes I will take a moment, or maybe more than a few moments, to just be in silence, and I might just, sit and hold my crystals or play my singing bowls, or I might do yoga. There's a lot of things I love to do, but I love being out in nature. That's one of my biggest hobbies, I guess. I love to be out in nature, and I do a lot of camping trips with my family, going to the Boundary Waters and canoe trips, long canoe trips, and those things are very grounding, and they've shown me a lot. They've given me a lot of humbleness. Makes you feel small and yet so large at the same time. And I think it's just important to explore outside of your comfort zone and to continue to see yourself as, I don't want to say small, but because the way I mean that is it's so vast. We're part of such a vast experience. And even though our bodies are so small, we're so amazing. We're so big. We're so essential. So, music too. I forgot to mention that because I'm a classical violinist. I was trained a classical violinist since the age of 9 and excelled at that. And that's been an expression for me for a long time. And now I've transitioned into more of fiddling, more of bluegrass, kind of fun stuff that I love. So yeah, I follow my expression every day, but I have a lot of fun things I love to do. Music, art, and being out in nature. My favorites.
That's wonderful. I was talking to Doug about, 2 months ago when we were redoing my intro to the show, and I said, I wish I had a wonderful violinist who could play something for my and promote them. So if you ever want to do something like that, I can just, what fun to take your violin out into nature too. I mean, I know the trees, the birds, everything around you. Are you in the country or are you more in the city?
I guess you would say I'm more in the country. I'm more in the suburbs, I guess, but I'm close enough into nature where, city people will say that I'm in the country, but it's not completely true.
It's just so beautiful. I can just resonate with your beautiful violin. I think that's one of the most beautiful instruments of love and peace and harmony that ever was created outside possibly of the piano. But
definitely.
What a beautiful energy to carry along with your healing, because it's so it's such a gift to be able to have your wisdom along with your violin playing. I mean, it's just so wonderful. I want to ask you, if you were working with someone, and it doesn't matter their age, you were working with someone and they were having a very difficult time, they felt lost in life. How would you work with them? What would you say to them, Courtney?
Yeah, this happens all of the time for me, to be honest with you. And a lot of times, people are attracted to me, and my personality or my ego, whatever you want to call it, is thrown off. I immediately am like, whoa, what am I going to do? My sensitivity is going to get the best of me, and how do I deal with this person? And then I just surrender and I say, okay, like, universe, please just show me the way. And sometimes I will just ask that person if they're comfortable doing a reading, and if they want to, then I will often do that for people on the fly. And just going to that surrendering place where I can tune into the higher perspective, when I can tap into source energy, it is so profound. And when I get into that place, there is absolutely no fear. I get complete clarity, complete full story on that person, and my ego and personality just steps aside, and I have no judgment on that person anymore. I have no fear about how it's going to be handled. There's no game plan. I literally, and this has taken a lot of time to get used to, but I will know going into it, someone with a big problem that is going to need a lot of work. And oftentimes where that comes from is a place of victimhood, where they feel small and they kind of blame the world and other people for how they feel. And that's a very, very difficult place to help heal a person from, because they really need to empower themselves into wanting to see themselves in a different way, to heal themselves. And so when I go into this amazing place, and I ask for the highest of light to come through me, and I ask that their personal, that this energy connect with them personally. Sometimes they resonate with guides or angels, and in that case I will say, let this person, please let their personal angels or guides come through and speak through my voice. And I just let it go, and I have no idea what is going to happen. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. And I say the usual mantra that I usually say, which is, I'm in the universe is in my body, the universe and I combine together. I learned that from the Gong master, by the way. But I say that in my mind, I surrender, I let go, and then I feel that amazing presence come over me. And I feel just completely at peace, at ease. Nothing's wrong, everything's clarity, everything's perfect. And then the angelic voice comes through, and they say, dear one, we love you so much. You are in the perfect place. We're here to help you. We're here to heal you. We're here to be here for you, and you're never alone. And it's just so, I mean, you can't not be affected by that. Somebody who really wants to hear those words is going to feel it more. But someone who is really having a difficult time, I think if they've gotten to that place where they've come to me, then it means that on some level they're ready to hear those words. And it's kind of like peeling back, another layer of the onion for every time we connect, because you get to a more pure place of understanding yourself, and then you see, oh yeah, I was the one that was holding myself back, and oh yeah, I have all of this within me. And I have a few people that I work with pretty consistently, and just seeing the progression with just a tiny bit of assistance is so amazing that the human being has that capability. But you have to be the one that reaches out. You have to be the one that says, I want to collaborate. I want to work together. And what I mean is the communication between you and your divine, the relationship that you're building when you decide to knock on that door. And so I think what happens from there is a person, in the beginning, they feel that they're separate from that voice that's coming through me. And they often ask very mundane kind of questions. Am I in the right job? Am I doing this right? Blah, blah, blah. And then as we go forward, it progresses to, how can I love myself more? How can I see, what's within me that makes me angry about someone else? And just the questions, they completely change and shift. And it shows me that they're understanding. They're on more than just a knowledge level, but their relationship to the true self is changing. And they're able to see their connectedness with all that is. And that's the most amazing part to me, is that somebody can come in with a real problem, a real issue that they don't think anything can solve. And they think I can help them. And I'm really just a conduit. That's really what I'm doing. But that's their higher self that's speaking with them. That is them in another form. And people don't get that the first time around, the first couple of times around. It takes a while, and then you start to realize that voice that comes through starts to sound like that internal dialogue. And then people really get freaked out. They go, oh my gosh, I was just thinking that. Or that's what I saw in my head. And I go, yeah, no duh, because that's you. And it really hits people then. They think, okay, yeah, that's real. That's really my higher self. That's really the divine, because nothing else, no one else knew that. No one else could feel that. And so that's the amazing part about it, and how I see people progress. So there's been many situations like that, but I'm always amazed.
Your higher self and your inner child, those two parts of us, if you may, are, if we each of us stayed in connection with the higher self and the inner child every day, wouldn't life be so beautiful? It would be a lot easier, wouldn't it, Courtney?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The higher self and the inner child. And I can personally tell when I'm out of sorts because my inner child and my higher self are not connected. And I know then that there's something I need to address. So I want to talk about teachings from God and how people can order your book.
Sure. Well, my website is teachingsfromgod.com. Very easy to remember. And you can visit that site, and there is a store tab, which you can click on that, and it will pop up another window, and that's the link to my Amazon page. And so there's going to be two versions on there that you'll see, one that's a paperback and one that's an ebook. So choose which one fits best for you, but for me, I love to have a physical book. I love to feel the pages, and there's something about that is a very different experience. So, but whatever fits for you is perfect. And I've got other stuff on my website too, blogs and social media sites, my YouTube channel, other interviews I've done, if you want to listen to those. So I got a lot on there.
That's good. That's wonderful. You also have a 4-month online book club that if you purchase your book, Teachings from God, Greeting Your Soul and Revealing the Divine Within, that they get as well from February through May, correct?
Right. Yep. And I might extend that book club. So it's basically what that is going to be about is sort of like a discussion group. So for people that are reading the book or maybe haven't read but they want to know more, it's going to be about talking about anything that you have questions about. And I will take a couple paragraphs at a time and study them and read them. And so it's a good thing to discuss with other people and to see what comes up in discussion.
That's great. You see, that's what a wonderful project to be involved with, because you're helping people through that as well, the blogs.
Right.
And that's everything's social media now. You know, you have to, everything is online. It's amazing to me. Everything, pretty much everything we do. I just want to thank you so much, Courtney. We've just got a few more minutes. I have appreciated your wisdom, your authenticity, your willingness to share, and to be so young is such a gift. And to value who you are, what you're doing, and to be in the now. I mean, I'm impressed because most of your age group and even older are so concerned about what am I going to do tomorrow? What's going to happen? And you know what? We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We can only know if we're happy now, then we can be happy in the next moment. And so I just really impressed with that. If there's just one more thing that you want to share with everybody, we have just a couple of more minutes. What would that be? What would that be, Courtney?
Well, I actually kind of wanted to pick up where you just left off, because I would say, part of being authentic and being in the now is being able to trust your own voice above anything else. Anything else that comes your way, trust your own inner voice. And that doesn't come from your mind. It comes from that part within you that, that feels good when you think about it, that is never criticizing, that is never fearful or worrying. And that place is what you need to listen to. That's your guidance system. So, being in the now, being, as you said, the clarity and how I'm speaking, that's because I'm letting go of my own, I'm surrendering and I'm just letting the words go out. I'm not holding back at all. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to sound like a spiritual teacher. I'm not using, new agey words. It's just, this is how I am. And so that's what this is about for me. And I think that's what it's all about. Just be yourself. And so I'm just here to help support people.
Oh, Courtney, I think that you do such a beautiful job, and I am so blessed to have had you on the show this evening. I know that good things are coming your way only because of you. You're just you. And that's enough. And that's what's so beautiful about it. I want to invite everyone to be sure and tune in each Sunday evening at 4 Pacific, 6 Central, 7 Eastern Standard Time to Living Your Soul's Journey with Dr. Vikke. One of the reasons why I had you on the show, Courtney, is because I recognize how beautifully you are living your soul's journey. And I resonate with folks like you because it's so beautiful to see the authenticity coming into our world and to see someone, even though you may not be a teenager anymore, you just crossed over. You are being wise and you're being yourself. And that is so beautiful and that is enough. So I thank you so much. And I thank everyone who's listening tonight. Sandy for calling in. Everyone be blessed. Find something to be grateful for. Again, thank you, Courtney.
Welcome to Living Your Soul's Journey with Dr. Vikke every Sunday night at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern. Are you independent, strong, full of outer confidence, but inside you feel like a failure in life and in relationships? Or do you feel together until you get into a relationship and give up your career, your dreams, even yourself? With Dr. Vicke's guidance in living the laws of heaven and the laws of man, you can learn to stand on your own 2 feet and be yourself, whether in a relationship or not. Wouldn't you like to be happy, free, and be authentically you, regardless of who you're with? Dr. Vikke has learned to combine both her legal skills as an attorney and her therapy abilities as a counselor to guide you in living your soul's journey. So, if you are seeking a way to live authentically with freedom and abundance, listen each Sunday night at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern on BBS Radio to learn how to live your soul's journey. And call in to talk with Dr. Vikke live. And now, here's our host, Dr. Vikke.